Dear seekers, let's together embark on a sublime journey of self-realization, delving down deep into the ocean of consciousness and try to unveil the eternal question, who am I? With Sri Ramana Maharishi by our side. Sri Ramana Maharishi, also known as Bhagwan Sri Raman, was a renowned Indian sage of 20th century. He was born on December 30th, 1879 in a pious, middle-class Brahmin family in Tamil Nadu. Maharishi Raman set sail on a profound spiritual journey at the young age of 16. In 1896, he experienced a sudden and intense fear of death, which led him to a deep introspection and realization of his true self. This transformative experience prompted him to leave his home and travel to the sacred hill of Arunachal in Tiruvannamalai, where he spent the rest of his life. Bhagwan Sri Raman is best known for his teachings on self-inquiry, Atma-Vichar, encouraging seekers to ask the question, who am I? To discover their unchanging true self. His simple yet profound message has inspired countless spiritual seekers around the world. To know Raman in person, we will begin with a delightful book, Sri Raman, Friend of Animals, Nondi, and the Monkeys of Arunachala, that captures the unique bond between Sri Raman and the Monkeys of Arunachala. The book beautifully narrates how Sri Raman, from the early days of his arrival in Tiruvannamalai to the final days of his life, was a friend, protector, and a guide to the monkeys. To his observant eye, it became evident that they had their own morality, territories, forms of government, and codes of war. Bhagwan watched them at sport and play and bestowed his tender care on those in need. Bhagwan had a special ability to communicate with animals that was beyond ordinary human understanding. The stories in the book are based on narrations by devotees and Sri Raman himself and are complemented by charming illustrations and restored black and white photos which are incorporated in the video also. It's a heartwarming read for children and adults alike, showcasing the Maharishi's compassion and love for all creatures. Arunachal Mahatmya. All rocks here are lingas. This is the realm of Shiva. The trees here are the celestial plants. Water here is the Ganges flowing from Shiva's plaited hair. All food here is ambrosia. To walk one step here is to go round the whole world. Any utterance here is the word of the Veda. Even slumber here is Samadhi. Can any other place equal this sacred Arunachala? In the beginning, once upon a time, Lord Shiva appeared on the earth in the form of a mountain. It wasn't really his idea. The other gods put him up to it. It happened like this. To settle a dispute between Brahma and Vishnu over who was the greater, the Lord appeared before them in a giant column of fire and challenged them to seek its top or bottom. Brahma assumed the form of a swan and flew high up into the sky, while Vishnu took the form of a boar and dug deep down into the earth. Try as they might, however, neither could accomplish the task. Humbled and recognizing Lord Shiva's greatness, Brahma and Vishnu knelt before him. Lord, on account of our ego, we have foolishly forgotten the Supreme Self. The earth longs for your blessing. Please remain with us. Take form in the land of Bharat, so that gods and men may forever have the benefit of your darshan and thereby be set free. Other devas heard Brahma and Vishnu's pleas and joined in. It so happened that Lord Shiva had recently felt anguished by the suffering of creation and yearned to show them the way to perfection. So he devised a plan to satisfy Brahma, Vishnu and the Devas, as well as to serve all creation which struggled against the illusions of earthly life. From the column of fire, he would take form as a mighty, motionless mountain. At its feet, all could offer their prayers and devotion and receive his blessings. No sooner thought than done. In the heart of the Tamil land emerged a majestic peak. Devotees called it Arunachala, the hill of fire. Now Brahma, Vishnu, Indra and the other devas were content. One by one they came to visit and worship this grandest mountain on earth. The Lord gave them spiritual instruction. Meditate upon the effluent lingam, known as Arunachala, and thus be rid of your sins. While mountains like Kailash and Meru are my places of abode, this Arunachal is my true form, and here I abide eternally. Sages and saints from great distances heard the good news and made haste to behold the Lord's greatness in Tiruvannamalai. Even Parvati, Shiva's consort, came to do penance before this great lingam. Many were so blessed by the Lord's presence that they were unable to leave. Centuries, indeed millennia passed, with untold number of great souls, saints, sages, and gods making yatra to win the Lord's favor at holy Annamalai. Part 1. Early days on the hill. Young Bhagwan moved up onto the hill in 1899, staying at Virupaksh cave. Situated beneath an immense rock on the eastern slope, this cave takes the shape of the sacred Om. Indeed, many say the sound of Om can be heard there. Virupaksh cave is the heart of Arunachala's glory, and over the centuries, great yogis and rishis have come to do sadhana within its hollowed walls. Like them, young Ramana was drawn by the cave's magnetic influence. Chapter 1. A Sage's Garden. In the early days, the young Swami lived virtually alone. But gradually, people began to take notice of him. A mysterious and irresistible force seemed to overwhelm them as they saw what looked like eternity shining from his eyes. One by one they came, some for short visits, others for longer stays, and still others who would remain with him for the rest of their lives. But the silent power which attracted them also had its effect on other creatures living on the mountain. Many animals of the hill, such as squirrels, pigeons, wild cats and deer, as well as the numerous monkey tribes, were drawn to him. Of the latter were black-faced langurs, the powerful leaf-eating monkeys that moved in small bands on the hillside. Langurs, being shy, took their darshan at a distance. But the bonnet macaque, a small rhesus-like monkey, was more social and not afraid to come for a closer look. As the opportunities for interaction were abundant, in time the Swami got to know them well. Eventually, he was even able to understand the meaning of their calls, and they in turn began to understand his words and gestures. In time, a bond formed between them. The scene in front of Virupaksh included sparrows and other birds who alighted on the branches of neem and mango trees, and peacocks who moved about pecking at the leftover grains from mealtime. Dogs lay curled up in the warmth of the morning sun. But even less attractive guests, such as lizards, spiders, and toads, also came and were welcomed. Serpents regularly visited, and once, to the horror of observers, a snake slithered right over the young Swami, who showed not even the least sign of concern. Another time, 2 scorpions climbed over him, one after the other, and again he remained calm as if nothing out of the ordinary was happening. On yet another occasion, a small frog, long and slender, sat at a distance of about 10 feet. Young Bhagwan gazed at it in silence as it stared back at him. Suddenly, without warning and in a single bound, the critter leapt in the air and landed on his forehead. Residents gasped, fearing some harm to Swami's eye. But the young Swami did not make any fuss, but his broad smile and slight chuckle suggested something like, "No need to worry, he's just saying hello."